You've spent 30 years paying off your home, your car, and your debt. You've saved money, built a retirement account, and you can tell your children one day this will all be yours. But wait, something happens and you need long-term care. A private room in a nursing home now costs nearly $130,000 per year, and Medicare won't pay for it. So if you eventually need help bathing, dressing, eating, memory care, or simply staying safe, where will that money come from? For many families, there are three possibilities. You pay the bill yourself because you have extra money. You have a long-term care plan that helps you pay for nursing homes or in-home nurses. Or you spend down all of your money and sell your assets so that you qualify for your state's Medicaid plan for low-income seniors. And that last option may come with long look-back periods and serious consequences that many families do not understand until it's too late. Medicaid could require most of your monthly income, including much of your Social Security, to go toward your nursing home care. Your choice of facilities is usually more limited, and after you pass away, the state usually tries to recover what it spent from your estate, which could include your home. Today, we're breaking down long-term care insurance versus relying on Medicaid, what each one covers, and how your decisions could affect the assets you plan to leave to your family. Hi, my name's Hannah Skinner, and I'm a licensed insurance agent at the Senior Savings Network. We help seniors understand healthcare and financial options before a crisis forces them to make a rushed decision. Before we begin, remember that Medicaid rules vary by state, and protections may apply for a spouse, certain children, caregivers, and other family members. This video is general education, not legal or Medicaid planning advice. Here's the simple version. With a traditional long-term care plan, you purchase coverage before you need care. You must health qualify. But if you are approved, when you eventually need help, the plan helps pay for care at home. You must health qualify. But if you are approved, when you eventually need help, the plan helps pay for care at home, in an assisted living facility, in memory care, or in a nursing home, depending on the policy. The goal is to protect your savings, protect your home, and give your family more options. A long-term care insurance policy is designed to help protect what you have, give you the ultimate choice on what nursing home or in-home care company you use, and keep the government from making decisions instead of you. Medicaid works very differently. Medicaid is a safety net program for people who meet strict medical and financial requirements. You have to spend down your assets before you qualify. Most of your available monthly income usually has to go towards your care. Your choice of facilities is more limited, and after you pass away, the state may attempt to recover certain costs from your estate. State Medicaid programs also conduct a look-back period of about 5 years to make sure that you didn't give away your money to your children or grandchildren. For example, rather than truly spend down your money on nursing home care by checking years of your tax return. Some people still think they could pay for nursing homes or home health nurses out of pocket. But with nursing home care costing close to $130,000 a year in some cases, this is not realistic for most families. Now let's break down why this decision matters so much. First, Medicare is not your long-term care plan. Here's the mistake that we see people make all the time. They believe that because they have Medicare, they're covered for a nursing home. That's not how it works. Medicare may cover a limited stay in a skilled nursing facility when you meet certain requirements and need short-term rehab or medical care like physical therapy or IV antibiotics. For example, you have surgery, spend time in the hospital, and then need temporary rehab before returning home. Long-term care is the help that you may need for longer after a major injury or illness, or even permanently when you can no longer safely perform everyday activities such as bathing, dressing, eating, using the bathroom, moving from a bed to a chair, or staying safe because of dementia or another cognitive condition. That is generally considered custodial care. And if custodial care is the only care that you need, Original Medicare does not cover it. Medicare also does not cover rehab at all after 100 days, regardless of the level of care that you need. A Medicare supplement does not solve the problem either. A supplement helps pay for certain costs that are Medicare-approved services. If Medicare does not approve the long-term care service, your supplement will have nothing to supplement. That means a Medicare supplement does not add coverage for nursing homes or assisted living facilities after the 100 days that Medicare covers. Medicare Advantage plans may offer limited support services like a Medicare supplement, but they do not replace comprehensive long-term care coverage. So you can have Medicare Parts A and B, a great Medicare supplement, and a Part D plan, and you still have a major hole in your retirement plan. That hole is long-term care. So how fast can a nursing home actually drain your savings? Let's make this real. The national median cost of a semi-private nursing home room is approximately $315 per day. That's almost $115,000 a year. A private room has a national median cost of approximately $355 per day, or almost $130,000 per year. Let's say you have $300,000 saved for retirement. That sounds like a lot of money, but at $10,000 a month for nursing home care, you could spend $120,000 in the first year. Stay for a second year and you could be down another $120,000. By the third year, that $300,000 retirement account could be entirely gone. And that's before we include other expenses. The cost to maintain your home, or the living expenses of a spouse who's still living independently. This is why long-term care can destroy a retirement plan so quickly. It's not always one enormous bill that arrives at once. It's $10,000 this month, then another $10,000 next month, then another, until the savings that you spent a lifetime building are gone. You have a couple of paths, so let's look at the first path. You planned ahead and purchased long-term care coverage while you were still healthy enough to qualify. Years later, you begin having difficulty getting dressed, bathing, or moving around your home. Depending on the policy, whether you meet its benefits requirements, the plan may help pay for someone to come into your home and assist you. This matters because most people would rather stay in their own home for as long as possible. If home care is no longer enough, the policy will help pay for assisted living, memory care, or a nursing home. The exact benefits depend on the plan that you purchased. Policies may include a daily or monthly benefit, inflation protection, licensing requirements for approved caregivers or facilities, and other exclusions or limitations. A common example is that a long-term care policy purchased will pay $12,000 per month for every month that someone needs long-term care for their whole life, regardless if that is 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years. Long-term care insurance does not guarantee that every expense will be paid, but it can create a lot of great options. It could mean the difference between staying at home with help and immediately entering a facility. It could mean the difference between choosing a 5-star facility closer to your children or a 2-star facility that's more than a 2-hour drive away from any loved ones. It could mean protecting a large portion of your savings instead of writing a $10,000 check every month. Most importantly, it can prevent your children from suddenly saying, "Mom needs care, Medicare isn't paying, and what are we going to do?" Now let's look at another path. You don't have long-term care coverage and you can't afford to keep paying the nursing home bill yourself. That is when Medicaid may eventually come into the picture. But Medicaid does not simply begin paying because your nursing home is expensive. You must meet the state's functional and financial requirements. That can involve strict limits on income and countable assets. If you have too much in countable assets, you may need to spend down that money before Medicaid will begin paying. Think about what spending down actually means. It can mean using the savings that you plan to live on. It can mean liquidating investments. It can mean watching your inheritance you planned for your children disappear one monthly nursing home payment at a time. Medicaid is an essential safety net for people who need care. but it was not designed to preserve a large inheritance while taxpayers cover the full cost of someone's nursing home stay. That is the uncomfortable truth. And here's another surprise. Many people assume that once Medicaid begins paying for a nursing home, they can continue using their Social Security check however they want. That's not how it works. A Medicaid nursing home resident is normally required to contribute most of their available income towards the cost of their care. That can include Social Security, pension income, or certain other incomes. You may be allowed to keep a small personal needs allowance. Certain medical deductions may apply, and additional protections may apply when you have a spouse or qualifying family member at home. But for a single Medicaid nursing home resident, most of that Social Security income will be applied to your nursing home bill. Medicaid then helps pay the remaining approved cost. So technically, Medicaid is not simply reaching into your bank account and taking your Social Security. But practically, most of that check may have to be contributed towards your care. That can leave you with little for clothing, haircuts, a phone, personal items, or anything that makes life feel normal. Someone may also tell you, "Don't worry, Medicaid can't touch your house." That statement is incomplete. Under certain circumstances, your primary residence may be treated as an exempt asset while you're alive. But exempt while you are alive does not always mean protected forever for your children after you pass away. After a Medicaid recipient passes away, the state may seek repayment for certain long-term care costs through Medicaid estate recovery. Depending on state law, how the property is owned, and the person's family situation, that claim could involve the home. In other words, the state may not force you out of your house to qualify under certain circumstances, but it could pursue a claim against your estate later. Your children could discover the home they expected to inherit is tied up in an estate recovery claim. Now, recovery is generally delayed while a surviving spouse is alive, and exceptions can also apply when there is a surviving child who's under 21, blind, or disabled. States must also have procedures for certain hardship situations. But those exceptions do not protect every family in every situation. This is why you can't assume that your home is safe simply because it wasn't counted when you originally applied. Your state's rules, your marital status, how the property is titled, and your family's circumstances all matter. At this point, some people think they found an easy solution. I'll just give my house and all of my money to my children before I apply. Unfortunately, Medicaid thought of that too. Medicaid examines certain transfers made during the 5 years before someone applies for long-term care coverage. This is known as the 5-year look back. If you gave away money, transferred your home, or sold assets for less than their fair value, you could face a penalty period. During that penalty period, Medicaid may refuse to pay for your care, but the nursing home still expects to be paid. That can leave a family with no insurance benefit, no immediate Medicaid coverage, and an enormous monthly bill. This is why you should never start giving away property or transferring money based on something that you heard from a friend, a neighbor, or someone on the internet. Medicaid planning involves complicated legal, financial, and tax rules. Talk with a qualified elder law attorney in your state before moving money or changing ownership of property. Money is not the only issue. There's also the question of where you will receive care. Medicaid nursing home coverage is available through facilities that are licensed and certified to participate in Medicaid. Even if a facility participates, it must still have an appropriate bed available and be able to provide the type of care that you need. Your first choice facility may not have space. The nursing home closest to your children may not have an available placement for you. A facility with a specialized memory care unit may have a waiting list. This is what families often mean when they talk about finding an available Medicaid bed. They're not simply looking for an empty room. They are trying to find a participating facility with an available placement that can meet the person's needs. There are limited beds saved for Medicaid placements. That search may force a family to choose a facility further away or accept an option that was not their first choice. A private long-term care plan does not guarantee admission anywhere. Facilities still have medical requirements and limited space. But having money available to pay for care can give you more choices than depending entirely on Medicaid availability. Let's compare two hypothetical families. Both mothers eventually need long-term care. The first mother has a long-term care policy. Her policy helps pay for care in her home. When her needs become greater, the policy helps pay for assisted living and later contributes to nursing home care. Her family still has decisions to make, and the policy may not pay every dollar. But they have financial help, more time, and more options. The second mother does not have a policy. She begins paying for care out of pocket. Her savings begin disappearing. She eventually spends down enough to qualify for Medicaid. Most of her available monthly income must now be contributed towards her care, and her children begin searching for a facility that can accept her. After she passes away, the family learns that the state may have a claim against her estate for Medicaid cost. Both mothers received care, but their families had very different levels of control and very different amounts left afterward. That is the real comparison. This is not only about who pays for the nursing home. It's about who controls the decisions while you're receiving care and what remains for your family after you're gone. So what happens if you can't afford long-term care premiums? Traditional long-term care insurance is not the only option. Some people consider hybrid life insurance policies with long-term care benefits. These policies may allow part of life insurance benefits to be used for qualifying long-term care expenses. If long-term care is not needed, the policy will still pay out a death benefit just like a life insurance policy would. Other people may consider shorter-term care coverage, home health care plans, personal savings, or a combination of several options. Some families have enough money to self-fund their care without threatening their retirement security. There's no single answer that works for everyone. But Medicare will take care of it is not an answer, because Medicare generally will not cover ongoing custodial care. You cannot wait until you need care to start planning. This may be the most important warning in the video. Long-term care coverage generally requires health underwriting. That means the insurance company can review your health history when you apply. If you already need assistance with daily activities, have certain serious conditions, or are already planning to enter a facility, it may be too late to qualify for traditional coverage. You can't wait until the nursing home bill arrives and then decide you'd like insurance to pay for it. Planning needs to happen when you're still healthy enough to have options. The right time to learn about long-term care coverage is not when you're being discharged from the hospital and your children have 48 hours to figure out where you're going. The right time is before the crisis. Medicare does not provide comprehensive long-term care coverage. That leaves most families with a difficult reality. Pay for care out of pocket, purchase coverage before it is needed, or eventually rely on Medicaid after meeting strict eligibility requirements. Medicaid provides an essential safety net, but relying on it may mean spending down your savings, contributing most of your income towards your care, having fewer facility options, and exposing your estate to recovery after your death. A separate long-term care plan can help protect your assets, give you more choices, but you need to plan while you're still able to health qualify. If you want to learn more about long-term care coverage and the options available to you, call the Senior Savings Network. We can compare traditional long-term care insurance, hybrid policies, short-term care options, and other ways to protect your family. Planning now could be the difference between choosing how you receive care and having that decision made for you during a crisis. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more honest, easy to understand information about Medicare, retirement, and protecting assets you worked a lifetime to build. And make sure to comment below any experiences that you've had with long-term care. My name's Hannah Skinner with the Senior Savings Network. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.